Thought we'd have a look at my Honda GB350, which I bought roughly 12 months ago. So I've had the bike now a year, just got it registered a couple of weeks ago. So during that time I've put up around about 3,000 kilometres, I think, and they've been hard kilometres too. So we'll check her out. 3175 on the clock, and a lot of that has been mainly dirt road riding. So I bought this bike specifically because it was a little bit light in the comparison to other bikes around what I usually ride on dirt. I've also got a Classic 350 reborn. I've had it 12 months too. So if you'd like to see a comparison between these two bikes, if you're on the market and you don't know which one to go for, well, just leave a comment there, and I might be able to put something together for you, and you can compare both bikes and see how you go from there. They've both got their good and bad points, so one's, it may be an interesting conversation as far as that one goes. So if this is your first time looking at a Honda GB350, I'm in Australia, so I'll just talk what they're like here. So if you're buying one here, they come in around about $7,800, and they come in the a dull matte blue or a dull matte black, whichever one you want. You got choice of either one. This one now is red. About 1 week ago, a little bit over a week ago, I decided I didn't like that matte blue anymore and decided to get into it and paint it. So it's now, I think, a better looking bike than what it was when I bought it off Honda. So that's my thoughts there. So you may like it or you may not, but it's appealing to me, so I'm fairly happy on that side. What can we start it off with? Okay, these are really, I'd say at this stage, fairly ultra reliable bikes. I've had no really issues in the 12 months I've had it, and take into account I do ride a lot of dirt roads. So when I mean dirt roads, hills, everything like that. So it's fairly, it's not the closet queen where you're going to buy one and just ride around in bitumen. This one's had a fairly hard life, and might have only done 3,000 Ks, but 3 on what I've ridden it around here, maybe 5 or 6 on a normal road bike. So it's been a fairly hard run. So overall, when you get these bikes, the thing I like about the most is if you're out on there, you've got your dual channel ABS as a safety feature, and you've also got traction control. You've got an 800mm seat height, and you've got a 19-inch front wheel and the 18-inch back. Now, once again, like I said, I ride quite a lot of dirt, so I'm running dirt road tyres on it, or pretty close to it. And this bike really performs well on the scrub. So we'll just have a look at the back tyre too. There you go. So you might ask, and also the stock ones, these are tubeless rims, so you don't have to worry about tubes in that case. If you're curious about the tyres in question, they're Moto's Adventure, or Moto's Tractionated Adventure rear, and the Rally's version in front. So overall I find these are really good. I mean, this bike here will on dirt, it'll sit at 90 kilometres an hour if I want to push it up that far. And I'll do a little bit of dirt on the way back, so I'll run it up one of the roads there and just show you how well it handles the dirt. Really good. Now the best thing about these ones, like they may put out 20 horsepower, but you can still run out along the road and cruise along at 100. One thing, they're a little bit lighter than the Classic 350 reborn, and I put around 5,000 kilometres on that bike, and it too's had some hard life on the dirt too, because I don't know, for some reason I just like taking them on dirt. Now the other thing is what mods I've done to it. Naturally the tyres are one. The seat was a little bit hard when I got it, so I pulled that seat off and put a gel insert underneath that one, so that made it a little bit softer in the seating side. And that would be about it. I added a Classic 350 heel toe shifter compared to the normal shifter what comes with the bike. But overall, it's been ultra reliable. I can get out here and never have any trouble with it. It's, the only time it was called back to the Honda dealership was they had a recall for these and a heap of other Hondas for an ABS sensor. So it went back and had the, I think, well, I'd say definitely both sensors replaced, front and rear wheel. So that's the only thing. But apart from that, I've had this, like I said, out in some really rough, crappy sort of country, and if what I might do, I might put a playlist up at the end of this clip, and you'll on the GB350, and you'll see where it's been and where it hasn't been. And I haven't been running all these tyres that long. It'll just goes to show you that you can also run it pretty well with the stock tyres it comes with on dirt. So it'll handle that easy. Overall, the ride quality is not too bad on this bike, except the rear shocks are a little bit on the hard side. Fuel economy, I think I'm getting about 35 kilometres to a litre, something around that thing. The brakes on this particular bike, like front disc, is really good, so it's got a fair bit of bite, and so's the back. And these ones come with a slipper clutch, so you know, they're nice and light, like they're just finger. Like, get back here, like that, one finger. Really nice little light clutch on them. So, you know, they're good in that area there too. Haven't had the bike out at night time. I don't really ride bikes much at night time, but so I can't really comment on the headlight side. But I sometimes get out on these bikes and go for a 100, 200 kilometre run, and out of that, maybe 100 kilometre might be dirt. So the only thing I can see me doing in the future with this one would be most likely go for a sump guard up here. I think in the Indian market, where they call them the Highness, you can pick up a sump guard there. Another good point with these bikes, they've got a really good exhaust note, so I'll just kick it over now and we'll have a listen. Yeah, I don't want to rev the shit out of it here because there's a house right opposite where I am, and, you know, they'll be over here wondering what's going on, because I'm just along this railway line section. I just pulled up here, went off road, come down along this track here, through that cutting there, and then back over to here. And I thought it'd be a little bit quieter here than compared if I did it just on the side of the road with cars continuously passing. But overall, I think these have got a lot going for them. Like, they handle well, like they only weigh in at 180 kilos. They're really a nimble little bike, you know, to move, so you can move around and through the corners, even with these chunky tyres on it. This bike handles really well, runs through the corners, brakes well, does everything it should. Then I can get up here on the dirt and have a bit of fun and run along that one with no trouble whatsoever either. So overall, you know, it's a really good package if this is the style of bike you're after. Yeah, plus I've also got the Classic 350 Reborn, and, you know, I can do cross references on both bikes, so, you know, you're on one, taking it for a run, get on the other one, you'll find them totally different in areas, so they're not exactly the same. So, and the Classic is 15 kilos heavier than this bike, but I must admit, when I got it in the matte blue, I wasn't really struck on the colour. I think Honda could have done a lot better there, and I also think sort of matte black ones, and they were fairly crappy too. But over in India, where it's known as a Highness, they give them really good paint colours, but that never happened here, so I don't know what was behind Honda's thinking there. So if you're in the market and you're thinking, you know, should you buy a GB350 or a Classic 350 Reborn, like I said earlier, leave a comment there and I'll bring them both out and we'll talk about the good and bad points on both. But if your heart's set on a Honda GB350, what I can tell you is this, in stock form, they are a bit gutless on the hills. And I think out along the straights around where I live, in New South Wales, Australia, 100 kilometres an hour is roughly the more acceptable speed for this bike. You know, you can push it to 110, but you're doing it a little bit more. But take into account this, this is a totally stock motor, except I put a different sprocket on the front. So if you want to know more about that, leave a comment and we can go into that side of it. But, you know, overall, I think if you're thinking, oh, I want something that's similar to a, you know, Classic 350, a little bit lighter, well, this one will probably suit your bill, because you can notice the 15 kilos lighter there. There's no risk. It's a lot more easier bike to move around. Unfortunately, I can't get here and tell you that, you know, I've had it for 12 months and it's a total heap of crap and it's not worth buying, because it's not the case, because it really is a very good bike. And, you know, a lot of people over the years or the last year have said to me, oh, the old Honda CB350 put out 36 horsepower against 20. Yeah, well, that was 50 years ago, and, you know, the world's changed, they've said, of what they do with everything, and you pay more now, but you get less. So that's what you've got to look at. Pay more, get less. Not in the old days where you got what you paid for. Today you pay more, get less, and just have to accept either that or nothing. So that would be the best answer I could give those people who say that, because it's no use living in the past, because you know, you get there and say, oh, that one had 36 horsepower and it also had carbies and all the other unreliable crap that went with it. And, you know, I've had quite a lot of bikes, and what I can say, you can't beat fuel-injected bikes. The only real drawback, if you said to me, there must be something wrong with this bike that you're not happy with. Well, the only thing I could say I'm really not happy with would be, from the cold start, the first time you kick these over, they've got a really high idle, and that's probably to do with the Euro 5 emissions. So what happens is, even if you leave it a couple of minutes to warm up, you'll get on the bike and take off and take your hand off the throttle, and it will still run along at 50 kilometres an hour, unaided by throttle. So that's the only really annoying part of it. So once the bike warms up, that part goes. And then after that, you can get there and really give the bike a good workout, which, you know, it's a fun bike to do. So another thing too, if you want to do your own oil and filter changes, really easy access to that. Doesn't cost you much to do it. I think I did mine for around about, what was it, about $23 for the oil and filter. And that was buying the oil off the Honda dealer, and the filter, I think the filter didn't cost me much at all, probably under $5, and the oil, you know, you have to buy it in a 4 litre container. I've got 4 other new bikes, and when I'm moving around through those bikes and doing swaps, you know, it's fairly hard to keep a track on how much oil one takes and how much the other. But the fact is, they're really good in that line. I really like the really beefy exhaust note when you're in first, second and third gear. That seems to be its power range, and it'll move along quite well in those lower gears. Okay in fourth too. Once you get in the fifth, party's over virtually, and it's more like an overdrive. But overall, you know, very little vibration runs through the bars or anything like that, or through the pegs. A little bit of a hum or buzz there, but nothing compared to some bikes I've been on riding around. So overall, it's a really good package for somebody who's undecided whether or not they want to step into a new Honda GB350, and they're just wondering, would it be worth their trouble to fork the money out and buy one. So in my case, I'm happy with it. If I wasn't happy with it, I would have cashed it by now, but that's not the case. I reckon it's a good package, a good bike, and if you go ahead and buy one, I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with it. And like I said, I've got a playlist at the end of this clip, and there's heaps of I don't know, I think there may be 15 or 20 videos I've done on this, on all different areas where I've had it. So you will see that this bike, you know, it might look blue when you see it there. That's the only problem. I haven't had it out doing any clips on the with the red paint scheme, because I've still got to put my badges back on and a few other things. So it's a working process there. But same bike, different colour. So that's the main thing. And, you know, like if you said to yourself, well, most likely people interested in this will be in England. They go along green lanes, I think they call them over there. We just call them back roads here, or tracks. But anyway, if you bought one of these and whipped a good set of tyres on it, you wouldn't find it threatening to ride on. You know, like I've got another bike there, a Suzuki 250 SX V-Strom, and you can really notice the difference when you get on that bike, which weighs roughly the same, because it sits up another 3 inches higher than this one, and you can really sort of tell that you are up on a lot higher bike. Much more suitable for dirt than this bike. But the fact is, if you take your time anywhere you go, you can do anything you want on the bike, providing you don't do anything stupid. So you know, you can ride them wherever you want to. It's just you have to ride the conditions. This one's not an outright dirt bike, so it's not an outright pacer, but you can go anywhere you want to. And even if you look in my history there on the clips I've taken classic 500s in total stock form, I've had them on 4-wheel drive tracks and taken them right to the river and back, and very hairy rides, those ones. And later on, you know, I'll probably be taking this out on a few of the runs there too. So hopefully you've got some info out of this. You might even want to click on and sub to the channel and just see where this goes. And this will be going out some really good outback rides shortly. So yeah, that may be something you're interested in. Or you might like to know the idea of sort of how does this compare to a classic 350 V Vaughan, and my opinion which one would be the best. So anything you want to know, throw a comment there. I'll give it a bit of thought what I can put together, and I'll get back to you. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking the time, and if you're still here, I hope, you know, like, if one of these is what you want, my thoughts would be nothing wrong with it. So, you know, well worth buying. And I hope to see you back on the channel again. So cheers for now.